Education has helped the marginalised rise above the exploitation suffered by earlier generations and empowered them to hold their own against the pressures of a rapidly developing India.
You can see how the whole area has become sort of semi-industrialistic. Paddy fields have been turned into brick kilns, and then when they've taken all the topsoil from that, it'll become coal mine. They're going to dig out the coal. I do a lot of village work amongst communities of people here in this part of India. People who tend to be at the bottom strata. That's caste system and also economic class system.
Tony Herbert was only 23 when he first came to India. He spent 10 years teaching in schools before finding his real love, the communities of Dalits, once called untouchables or Harijans, who formed the lowest level of India's highly stratified society.
जय जयसु कहाँ से खुद लाया?
खदान से लाया।
खदान से क्यों गंदपुर वाला? क्या आप लोगों का?
नहीं गंदपुर।
तो इसको कहाँ ले जाएंगे?
हजारीबाग।
हजारीबाग। जाने में कितने समय लगेगा?
एक बार लगता है 35 का।
हाँ?
एक बार।
It's hard work and hard on the health also, but they get money in hand, and that's what keeps them doing it. They've got in, otherwise they probably haven't got work at all. They're at the bottom of the caste system. And therefore the attitude of other people to them is a standard procedure. Words, actions, behaviour, roles are given to them because they're so-called low caste. And that's across the board. Secondly, they learn to accept that. And when they accept that, they internalise the whole thing, and that makes it a double slavery. Look at that face. There's a lifetime of struggle.
For more than 20 years, Tony Herbert lived among the Dalits, helping them find ways to break the cycle of poverty.
क्या समाचार आप लोग कैसे हैं? आजकल क्या समाचार? क्या करेंगे? I think in the beginning I was very idealistic, and I learnt the hard reality of what it's like, which is the lack of response sometimes from people themselves. And that became the biggest challenge as we went on. And that's for all of us working amongst these people. Because you can do social work, you can do uplift work, you can do education, some of them are passed through our schools, but they still have an old casteist mentality, and that's really the challenge that we try to work at.
Tony has come across an outdoor lesson at the village's government-run school. These are the lucky ones, because most children in this village get very little formal education.
Subhas. Another reason why they don't go to school, the girl child, they do all the housework. Yeah, there's some young girls coming up here, having cleaned the dishes. And also these brick kilns, they employ the whole family, the kids and everybody. And these ones are working in their own village, but normally they migrate to other places also, where they live in humpies, and the whole family goes, so the kids leave off going to school. And once they break with school for a bit of a while, and that's the end of it. तुम काम करो ठीक है कितने भाई हैं
2 3
3 भाई हैं तुम कौन क्लास तक पढ़े थे I'm just saying, what class did he study to? He said to 7th. Whereabouts in Rajar, which is our hostel up in the hills here. And I said, do you want to do more studies? He says, yes, which I don't really believe. But he says yes, and I said, whereabouts? He said, but we've got a school across here. So he said, I'll write my name there. Let us see. Yeah, often overwhelmed by it and feeling helpless. Helplessness is a thing, but I've learned somehow at the point of helplessness, that's where something takes off. This boy is Sanjit. He did matriculation last year in one of our schools. He got a first division. तो अभी क्या कर रहा है?
इधर ही काम कर रहे हैं।
पैसे कमा रहा है कि नहीं कमा रहा है?
कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
He wants to do teachers training. So I told him to work. He should be working in the brick kiln to earn money. He's going to need a lot of money for teachers training.
So some do make it through school. 100 from this district alone have gone on to tertiary studies. This offers them a real chance to make a better life.
फादर टोनी आते थे हम लोगों को कुछ मैंने जीवन के बारे में कहने के लिए, सोचने के लिए, ये तो अपने आप को उभारने के लिए चाहते हैं कि यदि हम लोगों का कोई व्यवस्था या विभाग यदि हम लोगों को यदि है तो मिशन ही है, और उसके अलावा हम लोगों को कोई आसरा नहीं रहता है, सब कुछ ठगते हैं हम लोगों को।
As the Hazaribagh Jesuits contemplate the end of their working lives, their legacy continues.
We have about 170 Jesuits, young and old. The numbers are mostly now Indians, and so I take care of them. So the work has grown tremendously, and even with about 170 of us, we are still struggling to cope with the amount of work.
I know the Australians started it all and began and get it going, and they themselves were interested in promoting local vocations, and so we have now many local priests. It will be different, but I think they, in their own way, will carry forward, and it is God's work, neither of the Australians nor ours, and it will continue.
You're the expert. I have never tried Skype.
No, it's easy, and once you...
Those who are able to still, they continue working. We don't retire. We just fade away.
Away on a mobile device, so she's not there.
I am now, you might say, retired at the age of 85. Looking back, when I was younger and we were just starting, perhaps I had the idea, oh, we have come here as missionaries and we've got something to give to India. There I found out I had much to learn about India. It changed me.
India too has changed and continues changing. But the mission here has held steadfastly to its purpose. As young men, these Jesuits came for adventure, but made the needs of others their life's work. Over the years, they have lifted many out of extreme poverty and remain a beacon of hope to countless more.
One or two went back, but most of us have stuck it out, joyfully, not just stuck it out, I mean, but many have died, of course, in that time, yeah.
Well, I was happy over here. There was only my sister left and my nieces and nephews, and so I said, I'll stay here because it gets into your blood, India, somehow or another. A difficult country in many ways, but there's something captured everybody. Most of everybody comes over here, they're quite happy to stay here. And that was better, but once you've been here for 50 years, you say, well, I'm used to it now. And they're nice people, very friendly people.
He's going to say hello, hello, hello.
No, that's the way I felt about it, and I still do.
It's much easier to be a believer in India than in Australia because it is such a secularized society in Australia. Religion is almost a dirty word, a bit strong maybe, but there you are. Whereas here, there's this sense of, yes, he's there looking over us. The one above, they call him. That sense of providence is very strong amongst the people, whether Hindu or Muslim. And that fed my faith.
I mean, I came from Australia, Anglo, privileged education. I had it all worked out. I knew everything. I'd studied theology and so on. I know I was an ordained priest. I really had to clean the blackboard and start all over again. You're in a village like this one here. They're non-Christians, but they're the disciples, they're the chosen ones in a sense, by their very poverty.
Well, we thought we were coming to give the Hindus and the Muslims and all that the answer. And we got there and realised that we didn't have the answer. And that in fact, the Hindus and the Muslims were far closer to God than we were. So that was the change in us, I think, in all of us, for sure. God works in so many different ways. By our work for others, for building up the poor, giving them human dignity, we realised that God was there.